All right, here we go. This is slides number 4. Yeah, slides number 4. It's about adding buttons of different kinds in a Google Slides presentation. And this is actually Photoshop. I use this as kind of a fake whiteboard sometimes. So I'm just using the screenshot that I have here to show you something. Usually what we do with a Google Slides presentation is you start right here on slide number 1, and then as you go through the show, the next thing you're going to see is slide number 2, and then it's going to go on down to slide number 3. These are terrible arrows, and then on down to slide number 4, and then to slide number 5, and then down to slide number 6. And that's what's called a linear presentation. You just show everything in order, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Usually that works. But it is not the only way that you can use Google Slides, and I like for people in my classes to know that you can do something different if you ever run into a situation where you need to, and you might be surprised at how often this really does come in handy. And what we're going to look at today is that you could start right here on slide number 1, but you could create a button, a clickable button on slide number 1. And for example, you could tell it, okay, when I click that button, I want it to jump over these slides and go down to slide number 4. And then I put a button on there and they say, well, okay, maybe I want that to jump back up here to slide number 2. And you could go, you make it go anywhere you want to, really. And you'll put a button on here and make that jump all the way down here to slide number 6. And you get the idea, right? You could put buttons on the slide. And you can tell the button, okay, if somebody clicks on this button, I want it to go, and you tell it where you want it to go, right? So you can make the slides be shown in really any order that you want. You can make it jump all over the place. And so I was using this Photoshop screenshot thing to show you kind of what we're going to work on doing today. Now, at the time that I'm recording this movie, nothing is posted on Google Classroom. If we were to go over here to Google Classroom, and if I go look on like first hour, for example, there's nothing on Friday. All right? It's just not posted yet, but by the time you're watching this movie, it will be. It'll be posted there. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you here is the handout or the help page that's going to be posted on Google Classroom. And you're going to have to make buttons out of different things to complete this assignment. You're going to have to create buttons using an image. I'm going to show you that. I've got instructions right here, but I'm going to show it to you in just a minute. All right, so you can use an image as a button. Okay. Now you're also on this assignment, you're going to have to create a button using a text box. That's also possible. You can use a text box as a button. There's instructions right here, but I'm going to show it to you. I'm not going to read that to you. You can also use a shape. This is my favorite way, by the way. You can use a shape for the button. You can create buttons by using a shape, and I've got instructions right here. But I'm not going to read those to you because I'm going to demonstrate at least some of it. I think there's going to be a fast forward in this movie where I do part of the assignment and then I kind of jump ahead and say, okay, here's what it looks like when it's done. All right. That's about it. All right. For the handout. That's about it for the handout here. So let's get back up here to get back to Chrome. And this, I've already made my copy here. So this presentation is on Google Classroom, and it will make a copy for you when you open it. And it looks like this. There's a green slide, and a blue slide, and a yellow slide, and a purple slide, and a brown slide, and red, black, orange, pink, gray. Right? Now here's what you're going to have to do. On each one of these slides, there is a box right here that gives you instructions. It tells you what to do. Create a button that goes to the purple slide. See this right here? It's on the text box that's sitting right there. Create a button that goes to the purple slide. Big, bold letters. Use an image for the button. All right, so if you do not use an image as the button on this page, you do not get credit for it. You got to follow directions to get all the credit on this assignment. All right, so I have to use an image as the button. All right, so I'm going to go insert image, and I'll just search for something real quick. Boom, I'm going to do a search, and I think I'll search for, and I'm going to search for button clip art. And it's going to give me a bunch of stuff that looks like. All right. Well, what shall we use? I mean, I'll just use this. This looks good. All right, so I'm going to insert that button. And bingo. Yeah, it would have been nicer if it didn't have that white background, but oh well, I'll live with it. All right, now, here's the thing about using an image as a button. If anybody were to just look at that, I mean, since it kind of looks like a button, they might figure it out. But would anybody really know to click that? I don't think so, not automatically. So if you're going to use an image as a button, here's what you should do. And I want you to do this on this particular slide. If I'm going to use an image as a button, I think you should come up here and make a text box real quick. I'm going to get the text box tool. Just click out a little text box here that says click the button. You know, don't make the person watching your presentation figure everything out, right? Give them a little bit of instruction. And I'm just doing some things to my text box just to make it look a little bit better, I think. There we go. All right. So now there shouldn't be any doubt. You know, if somebody were to look at this slide, it's telling them what to do right there. Click the button. All right. So I don't think that's a bad idea. That little extra text box right there that gives instruction to the watcher. It gives instruction to the user. Okay. So now how do I make this connect? It's got to go to the purple slide. And if you're looking over here, the purple slide is slide number 4. You can see it on the thumbnail of slides over at the left-hand side. Okay, well, so I've got to link it. We've done linking before. There's a button right here that would insert a link. Control K is the keyboard shortcut. I believe it's also on the insert menu. You can go insert link, and that will work. So do it however you want to do it. Control K for me. And we want to do slides in this presentation. It's way down at the bottom in my case, slides in this presentation. And we figured out, I was looking over there, the purple slide is slide number 4, so that's where I want it to go. I want it to go to slide 4, and it will look like this. I'm going to be checking for this when I'm grading your assignment here, folks. Now, if I could just come along and click on this one time, it's not going to go anywhere, but if I were to click that, it would. If I were to click that little pop-up right there, it'd actually go to the purple slide. I'm not going to do that right now, but I could. Right? Well, let's try it. Boom, purple slide. Look, it worked. So it jumped over the blue and the yellow, and it went to the purple. And that's exactly what this is all about. Now, let's keep going. Create a button that goes to the black slide. Use a text box for the button. So again, if you don't use a text box here to be the button, then you're not going to get the points for it. Let's go find where the black slide is. It's right over here at slide 7. All right. We need a text box. All right. So make it say something. I'm going to just build a text box, and I'm just going to make it say something that makes sense. Go to the black slide. All right. And then, you know, when you're working with a text box, you can do stuff, right? I'm centering it, and I'm making the font bigger, and I'm going to add a fill color there. I'm just using some gray. I'm not making anything terribly fancy here, and I'm going to put like a 4-point border around that. And all right, okay, yay, there we go. Got it. I'm going to stretch out that bottom just a smidge. Okay, yay. Now, here's a tip. If you see a blinking cursor in the middle of your text box like you see right now, if you'll look at it, you'll see a blinking cursor there. Don't do Control K or don't do insert link right now. It's going to like stick some like link text right between. In my case, it would do it right between the C and the K, and it's not going to look good. And that's not what I want. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click away from it once to deselect it, and then just click on like the corner of it. I don't want that cursor is the thing I'm telling you. When I go to put in this link, I don't want that cursor blinking at me. I don't think that's going to turn out good if you do that. So I'm just going to click the corner of it so I don't have that blinking cursor. Now I can do Control K, or I can use the linking button or whatever. And slides in this presentation, and it was number 7 we said is the black slide. All right, and you could test it. You could test it right here. Slide 7, boom. Did it work? Sure did. All right, now the demo part of this is almost done. The fast forward is coming. Create a button that goes to the blue slide. Use a shape for the button. All right, well, shapes are right here. All right, and if you drop that menu down, there's all kinds. You can use anything you want. There's tons of them. Tons of them. Tons of them. Right? So pick something you like. I'm just going to use, I don't know, I'll use kind of a rounded rectangle thing. Whee! All right, so when I draw the shape, I'm just going to draw the shape out. Once again, this is another thing kind of like the image that we talked about back there on the first slide. If I don't like label this somehow, nobody's going to know what that is. They're not going to know that they can click that. So tell them. And here's how you do it. Just click on this, just select it, and then just start typing. Say it however you want to say it. All right, let's go to the blue slide, which, by the way, is slide number 2. You can see the slides over here on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to kind of do all the things that I want to do, right? Don't be lazy. You know, work to give your stuff an attractive appearance. Okay, there. So it's a shape. Now I did add some text to it because I don't want my audience to be confused. I don't want my audience to think, well, I don't know what that box is. So now I'm just going to do Control K. I could have said click here for the blue slide, but whatever. All right, slides in this presentation. We said the blue slide is number 2, and it will put this little pop-up on here. And if you want to make sure that it's going to the right place, you can click right here where it says slide 2. And did it work? Yes, it did. Now you're going to find on the rest of the show, the rest of the way through, create a button that goes to the brown slide. The brown one is number 5 over here. And it says the type of button is your choice. Well, okay, so that means you could make the button out of an image. You could make the button out of a text box. You can make the button out of a shape. You can do whatever you want with that. I showed you already 3 different ways to make buttons: image, text box, shape. So if it says the type of button is your choice, then that's exactly what it means. The type of button is your choice. So you kind of do whatever you decide you want to do. Sound effects help. All right, I'm going to select all of that text, and I don't like to just leave it with all of the defaults and all that kind of stuff. I like to play with things like font and color, and I think you should do that too. I think you should, when you have the opportunity, I could make that brown. Whatever. It's up to you. There. Okay. Yay. And then I would just take that and Control K, link it. And in this presentation, the brown slide is number 5. You can see the slides over on the left-hand side, right? And if I click that little link right there, did it take me to the right place? Yes, it did. So you're going to see that, okay, the rest of them say the type of button is your choice. So you can build buttons out however you want to build it. And so your next destination is the pink slide. And then after that, your next destination is the yellow slide. And then after that, your next destination is the gray slide. And then after that, your next destination is the red slide. You got to read right here. It tells you. And once you're on the red slide, your next destination is on the orange slide. And the orange slide is the last one. It says, this is the end of our journey. Nice linking. Now turn me in. All right. If you want to, you could stick a button right here that would go back to maybe where? The beginning. You could. On the orange slide, if you really, 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 really wanted to, you could stick a button here that says, go back to the beginning and link it to slide number 1, the green slide. And so you got like a full circle there. But that's kind of up to you. But you do have to, and when I go to grade this has got to be an unbreakable chain. Okay. Like I'm going to come along here and I'm going to click these, and it's got to go in the right order, and it's got to make it all the way through. So purple slide, boom. Well, here, I've got one that's already done. Okay. So boom, slide 4, boom. And then, I'm just going to, instead of actually showing the show, I'm just going to use these little links to get through. You don't have to animate anything. You don't have to do transitions. So boom, did that go to the right place? Yes, it did. And that should go to blue. Yes, it did. And that should go to brown. It did. This should go to pink. It did. This should go to yellow. It did. This should go to gray. It did. This should go to what? Red. It did. And then this should go to orange. And it did. So that's what I mean by the chain has to be unbroken. If you forget to link a button, or if you link it to the wrong place, you're going to lose points on this assignment. You got to link them, and you got to link them to the right place. Okay? And they also have to be the right kind of button. Like this has to be an image. And this one has to be a text box. And this one has to be a shape. And then the rest of them are up to you. You can do them any way you want to do them. That is the end of the story. Time for you to go to work.